Welcome to Keeping It Real with T&L. I'm Coach Ty, and today we're with Coach Lori, and we're going to be talking about a very, very good topic. It's going to be children's health, fitness, and nutrition. Guys, we have a fantastic episode lined up for you. But first, Lori, you've had a busy Netflix week.
Pretty busy week.
Let's tell us all about what's been going on with your Zoom sessions with Greg Glassman and Emily Cap.
Yes, let's do it. So it was a welcome kind of call from Greg and Emily to the affiliates. Most of us are on there. There's 100 of us, right? We're doing it. And he talked about how in 2019, for those of us that have done CrossFit for a while, remember the change. There was that little living room set up and elderly people working out, and there was that shift towards health and nutrition and fitness and chronic disease. And that's kind of where things were going. And then 2020 happened, and we know what happened there. It's like that workout we do called Things Fall Apart. That's what happened, literally. And he's like, the work is not done. And now we have you guys to finish what I started. So let's go, right? So it was a really big deal. It was an hour and 40 minutes. It was like this just invigorating start to my Monday. And everybody on there, like, we know the guy from Jigsaw. He's a 100 as well. Yeah. It was fantastic. So I couldn't be more excited to be a part of it. We've hit the ground running. There's an actual MetFix training manual. There's like I don't know. And what I think of it as is like the holy Bible to like health and wellness and fitness. Like, it's the greatest thing ever. And so it was just, I don't know. We've got so much work to do to help everybody one person at a time, if that's what it takes, right? To bring back health and fitness to the forefront of everyone's mind and like stop worrying about chronic disease and illness so much.
Absolutely. I completely love that. And I already know that if Glassman has his hand in it, it's going to be for the people and good.
Yeah.
For the people. Because like I said, as you talked about that 2019 pre-CrossFit mindset, you can't go wrong. There was a complete shift. So it's good to see that health is finally starting to come back, and that we are going to be making some huge changes going forward in the future.
Yeah.
So now, the other thing that we're going to be touching on really quick, let's jump into the topic of children's health, nutrition, and fitness. We always hear a lot, so much all the time about childhood, obesity. I was affected by that. And that's obviously been something that we've been hearing about for years. And so I can't imagine how much different it is for children now with the iPads and electronics, a lot less outside playtime. Because I remember at least we were able to be a whole lot more active. So with that said, what are the biggest challenges that you see when it comes to dealing with children staying active and eating?
So definitely the electronics. As a parent, I can tell you that when your kids are in school and the teacher's done with the teaching part, when they take out your phone or get on your Chromebook or whatever, everybody has a Chromebook, right? PE is 1 to 2 days a week. One day is with a PE instructor. The other day is like with the teacher. So it might or might not be PE at all. But the biggest thing that I've seen is that the food that's considered food for children, like they're like 5, 6, 7 times higher sugar intake by lunch than they should have like in 5 days. Like I look at the standard breath, like yogurt, granola, fruit. Okay, like where's your protein at? I know it's Greek yogurt, but I'm like, come on, guys. So they're all hopped up. Like that one scene. Ricky Bobby's nephew, like, I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. It's like a monkey. Remember that? And kids like crazy. The kids are going crazy because their little tiny bodies and brains are like cranked out on the standard food pyramid breakfast. And these kids can't even like remember how to spell their name in kindergarten. They're just wired.
That's the best reference, that Bob.
Oh, come on. She like smile. If I could just watch that tonight, if I just had time to watch that, I absolutely would. I made a bunch of notes because there's so much to talk about with all this, and I don't really want to screw it up. I will say the other challenge is that everybody's busy. We're all busy.
There's so much going on.
So much going on. If I told you my day, we'd be like, you were busy. But here I am, eating healthy, zero sugar, fitting for the focus, the nootropic, onto a podcast before 5 more hours of work. And I'm still not going to go to In-N-Out.
And you managed to also do a Zoom teaching class today?
Oh yeah, I taught a Shibata today. I was on a webinar with Broken Science. We'll circle back to that at the end. That was hella good. That was so legit. We're very excited. So I think that mentality of like, in this area especially, and I know it's different all over the country, but the Bay Area of California is like, my kid plays 3 instruments, 4 sports, is getting into Harvard in their 10, and let's go. There's like this race to like how much we can do. And then because of that, they're just like grabbing food and eating in the car from one thing to the next. And here at our Monday fix weeks ago, it's like the second one we did or third, was that fast food is not faster or cheaper than running into a convenience store or a grocery store and grabbing like rotisserie chicken, right? So I challenge the parents. I'm like, hey, go grab a rotisserie chicken, a $5 tub of salad. You know you got some oil and vinegar involved, olive oil, balsamic. Kids picky, like throw little pecans on there, and nuts are okay. Do something other than pumping them full of In-N-Out. The In-N-Out line here, can you tell our audience, is it ever not busy? No. Am I making it up?
No, it could literally be 11:30 on a Friday night, and it's from the In-N-Out drive-through to damn near the 680 exit off of Crow Canyon. It is like, it's almost like a drug house. It's nonstop traffic. Everyone's always there.
I'll tell you this too. Not many people who weren't around here back in the day know this. So when I was 19, I'll be 48 in like a month and a half, right? I was working at Tommy T's Comedy Club, and they built that In-N-Out. It has been that busy since I was 19, and I will be 48 in a month and a half. I can remember, like, if there was an accident on the freeway, I tried to back road down because, you know, to get around and bypass traffic. And I'm like, holy hell, where's everybody? They're eating In-N-Out. And still, you can lettuce wrap it, but it's still an F grade on the beef. Like, guys.
Yeah, you're still losing out. Like, I don't want to knock In-N-Out.
Everybody's had it. We've all needed to do it, but not 6 days a week.
Exactly. That's the biggest topic, is that should not be your quote unquote go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's one of those weekends where you're like, and you don't have that kind of self-control, where you can't stop yourself from needing that feeling of fast food, fine. But it should not be, like you said, every single night I'm at the In-N-Out. And then you're just pumping your kids with that same great F beef, the French fries cooked in the oils, all the stuff. And you think, well, at least it's not Mickey D's, but it's really not that much better, honestly.
It's really not. I mean, it's not. And to the 7 fast food chains that have replaced the seed oils with the beef tallow, that's amazing. That's great.
Oh.
But you're still pumping them full of like crappy carbs and bread and late at night too. So then think about it. Like, I'm bringing my kid home from swimming. This is hypothetical because my kid doesn't swim. And all of a sudden I'm just like, hey, let's make a run for the border. She got a burrito. What do they have? Chalupas. I've been Taco Bell since I was like...
Burrito Crunch.
Okay. I remember Mexican pizzas. I was 30 the last time I Taco Bell.
Some of the classics.
18 years, right? And my child has a gut full of just crap oils and carbs. Hella sugar. Because, you know, even ketchup has sugar, right? It's all the crap everywhere. And then I expect her to go to bed on time and, like, digest and wake up feeling good. Like, they're going to be laying there for a couple hours just waiting for it to break down. Then they're in the bathroom, they're up. Like it's just not the best thing. And there has to be a better way. And even if that means buying pre-made healthier food and just throwing stuff in Ziploc bags and putting it in your car, it doesn't have to be bento box. We're not getting fancy. Just give them something a little better because they'll sleep better. You'll be happier because they're sleeping, right?
For sure. Now, so here's the thing. Now, you had kind of touched on it. So we come from that typical old school food pyramid, which we were basically told that we should be eating basically 4 to 5 servings of grains and carbs, and maybe one little serving of protein at the top. And so that's kind of how we were kind of raised, and I haven't really seen much change in that other than what we know ourselves about.
Right.
So obviously that's completely different, but I still feel that most of the people still look at that pyramid or look at that way of eating and think that that's healthy. So what would you say? Like, let's move in. What would you say? How has that affected the children these days? Like, just with, hold on, let me kind of dive in. I was going to talk about this, obviously, the learning stuff. You know that the carbs and the sugar, it affects the thinking.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that we have to deal with is that most of these parents or kids don't want to give their kids meat or protein. So I know that we are going to touch on that, but let's go into something that you recently did where you went to visit some family up in Seattle. So I'm not going to take up the whole entire story, but let's talk about your nephew and let's talk about how we kind of got, how you went up there and basically helped him to get back on track with his health.
Yeah. So a little backstory without getting into too many things. Last August, my nephew, who just turned 6 a week and a half ago, I went up, he got a flu. He gave it to his brother who was 3, his mom and dad, they all had the same thing. And then I get a text from my brother that he's peeing out like brown urine. And I'm thinking, rhabdo, because every CrossFitter goes to rhabdo, right? And I'm like giving him a laundry list of things to check. It's the same story, different person, but it's my family, so it's different to me. Children's Seattle Hospital, kidney unit, quarantine for like a week. We have no answers. We don't know why, but put him on blood pressure medication. Nothing about his food, nothing about hydration, nothing about rebuilding his immune system, nothing. So when we went up a few weeks ago to help my brother with the boys, because my sister-in-law was traveling, it was a great time. Everybody's having fun. They keep them active. They're in the YMCA. They're active kids. Like, those boys have a ton of energy, right? They do. You can tell we're all from the same family. They're running around crazy. Great sense of humor. Totally musically inclined. Great boys. I love them with all my heart. And then, unfortunately, the next morning, Luke wakes up sick. And everybody just holds their breath. Because the last time he got sick, his kidney tanked, right? His kidney.
So that was the whole entire, yes.
So I went up with the intention, I'm talking to my brother and sister-in-law, and they are busy. Like, the work is so much, and there's no family up there to help them. My parents are moving up in a few weeks to be close to help them, which is great. But this whole time, my mom has been here with us, right? So they'll have the help that they need, and that's why we go up to try to help. So my idea was like, he's a picky eater. How can I help him? What can I do? The first night before he got sick, they were playing. Uncle Tim was there, and actually, we just call him Adventure Tim because he's Adventure Tim. So they're showing me how they take the pillows off the couch and they dive off the coffee table onto the pillows and run around, and they're doing all the things. So that's not the problem. Getting them to sit and eat is the problem, right? That's hard. One's a picky eater, one's not. And they love what they love, like organic chicken nuggets, right? Like,
I was going to say, now that's a very, very good point that I feel a lot of parents probably struggle with. Having a picky eater or a child who doesn't quite, like, you put the veg in the meat and they're like, I want chicken nuggets or something else, like you said. So how did you go about solving that problem once you got up there, or making the meal prep fun, or making food fun?
Gotta make it fun. So first of all, every parent knows I'm like speaking and preaching to the choir. Your kid's not gonna listen to you, but they're sure as hell gonna listen to Auntie Lori because she's new and shiny and they love her so much. And Uncle Tim, so immediately they want to eat what we're eating. But I didn't talk about what I was doing at first. The first thing I always do when I travel somewhere is I borrow the car and I go to the grocery store and get the food that I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna cook for everyone. So I like to cook the week's worth of food so that the 3 days we're there, and the 4 days after, my brother and sister-in-law can pull it out and have food ready because they're so busy. And I love cooking. I don't mind that. So just by like steaming broccoli and cutting up veggies and doing stuff, they were just like shoveling that in. And then when Luke got sick and he didn't want to eat because he felt like crap, I had to get really like, okay, how are we going to do this? So I was like, like, do you like hamburgers? Because I'm like, the kid needs some iron. Like, no one's done anything to build back the gut health after all the medications and being in the hospital for a week. And it's August, right? Last August. So he's like, yeah, I like hamburgers. And I was like, well, yeah, what do you like on it? And he's so cute. Ketchup, 1 slice of pickle.
That's it?
Don't talk to me about cheap. Like, he's like ketchup and a slice of pickle. And I know he's only 6, but he's a really smart kid. I'm not saying that as like an aunt that's like gushing over my nephew, like someone that's been a teacher for, like, this is a really sharp kid. He's dialed in. So I was like, cool. Hang out with Uncle Tim. I drove to the store and I got like a brick of grass-fed organic beef. Created, 4 patties by hand. They had organic. Their kids eat wheat. My brother does not. He has a gluten problem like I do. So like a really good organic. So the best quality bun we could find. And what's funny is like he really focused on the burger eating it and less on the bun anyways. And he ate almost half of it, which is more than he had eaten for like a day and a half leading up to that. Oh, wow. And he ate 2 pounds of broccoli that was steamed, nothing on it. Like he just he put out the different things and he just casually talked to me eat it. And then he just casually talks to you and starts eating it. Like we're not making it a big deal. We're not like, oh my God, you're so picky, or oh my God, why are we wasting food on you? Like what do you want to eat? And then make it happen. Because who didn't want a grass-fed burger? Like I had lettuce for my wrap lettuce burger. Hey, let's go. LFG, let's go with that, right? And that was the thing. So he took ownership. And then one time we had Aiden, the younger one, with us at the store to help out pick something else. It was also an early birthday for Luke. So we were trying to find a dairy-free ice cream. And I made a Simple Mills little cake. I'll tell you about that too. And so Aiden's excited about picking out things that he wants to try and do, right? Okay, so now he loves to eat, but now he's loving to eat like the healthier stuff that he's picking out. So it's really cool. Like it was just, and I get it. Like if I looked at Ashley, I was like, hey, like when I told her, I was like, hey, I'm doing slow carb. She's like, oh my God, I don't want to live like this. And I'm like, I think it's the greatest thing ever, but I'm not telling you how to live like this. I just like to lead by example, lead by example with your kids. If you're just shoveling in those veggie straws that are the funniest, marketing, look at vegetables serving. Stop. It's just like popcorn is vegetable. It's just pops. It's I'm like, guys, so leading by example, being excited about it, not making a big to-do about anything, playing first, getting them hungry, sitting them down, making sure they had snacks so that they didn't go too long between eating, and that it was healthy and good. And they loved it. They ate it all. Yeah.
I completely love that. So there's a couple things that I completely love. I completely love how you said, lead by example.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that I love that is because people do not realize your children are literally a reflection of you. Every little habit they picked up from the age of 0 to 7 before they were at the point of awareness and can make their own choices of what they thought was right or wrong. They just went off of those habits. Yeah. So obviously you have a nephew who's 6. So he's still in that stage where he's just taking what he sees as this is life. And by you saying, well, here, you want a burger, let's make it healthy. And then you're there with him eating the same food and you're showing this is how I eat, this is how I live. It's much easier for a parent to show than to tell. Because if you're one of those parents who's like, no, you can eat broccoli and this, but your kids see you eating pizza on a Friday night too and stuff in your face, you don't hold any weight. It's like, of course, if I was a kid, that's how it was with my mom. I knew that she didn't work out or do anything, and then she tried to tell me something. I'd be like, you're fat too. I was an asshole kid.
Kids are brutally honest.
Yeah. It was like,
they'll tell someone they don't know that they're fat. They're like that. Yeah. You're like, don't talk in public. What the hell's coming out your Oh no. One of these podcasts, I'll tell you the funny Costco mommy's coffee story. You'll die laughing. But they just say the funniest shit and the most honest shit. And you're like, God, no one needed to hear they were fat today. I'm gonna go for a walk now.
But that's the common thing is that parents do not realize is that even though yes, they are the authoritative figure, the kid is more watching than listening.
Yeah.
And so you have to be living what you're practicing. So that's super easy for you to show up there because we all know that you live.
Yeah.
So you don't have to lie about it.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about is going to be, let's get into the point, staying active. You went up there, you obviously knew that there was a medical thing, but we still know that movement is medicine.
Yeah. I get some fresh air and movement.
How did you get the movement involved with the children and how'd that go?
So, we had Luke at home with us. Aiden was at Montessori because he'll be 4 days after my birthday. So he's almost 4, right? And so I had taken Luke outside to sit in the sun because it's Seattle or Tacoma and it's in and out of rain and the blue skies came out and he's very fair skinned like his mom. And I'm like, need some vitamin D. So I'm like, hey, you want to sit on the patio chair with me? And he takes my hair clip and puts his hair up. And he's like laughing, getting his hair, like boys are just, they want to play with everything. We got some sunshine, feeling better, read a story. And I'm like, Luke, would it be okay with you if I work out in the living room? And this is like where the magic happens. This is where it's like people can tell you to do things with your kids or get them involved, or nieces, nephews. You might not be a parent, but you have a kid within your scope of influence, right? Lead by example. Be that person that touches them in a good way and makes positive changes, right? Like, be that person. So I look on, I took the workout off of Netflix, the Daily Fix. My brother had a 35-pound kettlebell. Oh, wow. The workout ended with 30 Turkish get-ups, right? With the kettlebell. Oh my! I'm not strong, but I was like, I'll just do 5. And I did 10. I was like, no, I'll do 20. And I'm like, I'm gonna finish it. I'm already here now. The 70, 60, 50, 40 of the other movements were shorter than like the 30 Turkish get-ups. Dude, we were building strength. So while this is happening, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do some push-ups, and he's off to my left, right? Squats, videos taken, doing all the things. So he, with influenza A is what it ended up being, and his kidneys are fine, starts working out while I'm working out and excited. Like, if you watch the video, I filmed the video. So like when Tim and I travel, we try to show that we're staying active to lead by example for our gym, right? To give people that motivation, like, hey, I know I'm in Italy, but why can't I go drop in at CrossFit? Or why can't we go walk 20 miles? Like, we did all that, right? And so just keep people, step challenge. Yeah, we're doing all the things. And so it happened. Like, all of a sudden, he was like, the YMCA is fun and play it, and they're active. But he's like, this is pretty amazing. Like, he's watching me sweat. I'm like grunting. Did not drop an F-bomb, which was amazing. Okay. You know, so big wins. Yeah, big wins, because sometimes it comes out in low class, these hard workouts. Oh my word. And so it was just like, okay. So then I finished my workout, and then it was Tim's turn, because then he could do it with the kettlebell. And so then Luke's like, I want you to take videos of me so I can see me working out. So he's so excited about like exercise. Yeah. I love this on. Like, I have the chills telling you again, because it was like, oh my gosh. Yo, and I completely love how it wasn't even forced. No. You literally just took out the kettlebell and started moving. In the living room. And yeah. He could naturally just want to get involved. That is how it always works. It's like, even here when the parents sometimes bring their kid, or they kind of sit them, the kids can't help but want to try to get involved. They do. Yeah. They naturally want to go out on the run with them, or they want to ask about, can I get on the bike? Can I do something? So you are showing that kids naturally gravitate more towards someone in action than someone who's running their mouth about it. And so that's what I completely love. And I'm glad that he had a good time, to the point where this is something where he's like, take pictures. Like, he wants to remember this moment. Like, he wants to lock in. Yeah. That means it's fun. And I'm still sending videos of little clips of my workouts every other day to show him, because I promised him I would. So you keep him motivated still. Yeah. And the thing is this, like, parenting, everybody's parenting experience is different. No two children are alike. But what I've noticed, my daughter's 17 now, my only child, and watching nieces and nephews and people here with their kids, what your child wants more than anything is your time. So bring them in to be a part of your workouts when you can, or go be a part of their playing in the park, or go to the YMCA and swim together indoors in the winter when you want to heat a pool, or, find ways, or make a sport. Run around, make an obstacle course, like bear crawl with them. You had kind of mentioned that Tim had made an obstacle course. Do you want to tell them about that? Dude, it was so wild. It was so cute. Jenna's just like, cool. So all the cushions are off, and they have this like really nice sturdy wood, like coffee table between the two couches. And then the other 2 chairs are back by the fireplace, so they're not in the mix. So the table gets moved over to here. So it's almost like from the little end table to the coffee table, they dive onto that, run to the couch, and then dive onto just a mound of pillows. And then you're trying to move one out of the way before the other one jumps, and they were just like circles. And then what else did they do? They would just run around like, okay, go into the dining room, twice around that, through the kitchen, back, jump on the pillows, just like, and they're buying parkour, like little kid parkour. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it was. And then it was a matter of like, all right, let's help clean up now. Because that was before dinner. That was working up the appetite for dinner, right? So let's clean up. And then afterwards, if the sun's still out, walk down the street to the park, let them run around crazy. Like, that was the best part of Europe. Every time you finish eating, you walked. Like, your digestion, your energy, you're getting ready for bed. You're just getting all that extra energy out from the excitement of the day or the high sugar of the day, depending on what's fueling their, insatiable, like, appetite for movement and like so much energy.
And so I completely love that. And I hope that the parents at home are watching, because the most crucial thing that you can do is actually do your own research on fitness and on food, so that you can actually be confident. I know that if my mom would have known what you know, she wouldn't have put me down the path that she had. And I know that it's because most parents don't know. And I'm not even talking about our members or anyone else. That is a general thing. We still help grown-ups right now with learning how to eat right at 40 plus years old.
Yeah.
So it is not uncommon for people not to know. So why would you think, I don't know why parents would think that their kids would know to eat healthy or think they should do these things. It's like, no, you were going to have to be the example like you were, make it fun, show that this is how you're supposed to live, and they see that new path, that new way. Because all of us have only seen, for the most part, one way. Eat fast food, watch freaking TV, and come up with excuses to take a nap.
Yeah.
And that's basically how most people live their life. But obviously, you know that that's not the way. So educate yourself so you can actually pass on that knowledge. And so your kids don't have to deal with the things that we've had.
Yeah.
That's what most parents should feel. As opposed to giving your kid an ice cream to shut him up. That is literally like you giving him poison. Like, here, just stop talking.
Might as well just like
here's your poison.
Towel and knock him out.
It's like I don't. I don't know what it's like to be a parent, but if I was, I wouldn't just be giving my kid rat poisoning or other things. But that's what it's like when you're just shoving fast food to tell them to basically stop because you don't want to deal with them. And all you're doing is making them eventually have to deal with the same problem that you had to deal with, learning how to eat right and learning how to work out. So why would you set them up on the same path that most of us know that we had to overcome?
Yeah.
So you might as well just teach them right the first time so that they could go on and just live right. So speaking of that, what would you recommend? What's a good balanced diet for a child? Like, let's just say, typical kids sitting in between 6 to 10. What's the plate look like? How would you recommend feeding them? What would you say?
A couple of things. The first thing I would remove would be the fruit juice.
Okay.
Because that's
that over.
Yeah. And then when you do like the low sugar and then got all the artificial sweeteners that the jury's out, like how bad they really are. Like, it's an unknown. Like let's cut out the juice. Have your kid develop a love for water. A little bit of lemon. If they're really picky, when you go to a spa and there's like melon and mint and watermelon infused essential, whatever it takes, just get them on better habits with water. If they drink milk, make it whole milk so that it's not sugar, because the less fat it is, the higher in sugar it is. And already you've just saved them solid 20 to 30 grams of sugar straight out the gate, right? And if you think about it, like you and I, the way we eat, I think it would take us a minimum of 7 days, I was kind of doing the math, to eat as much sugar as most kids get in one meal. And it's worse if they eat at school, which is a necessity for a lot of families. I get that. But that's like, put that in perspective. If all of a sudden we went from 20 grams of sugar or less at most, 20 is a high day, right? I've read lentil, pasta, meat, bone broth, chicken, veggies. Like, I don't know that, and a zero sugar fitted, I don't know that I've had any sugar today. Because I gave up my nitro cold brew. We have to talk about this too and why. You're going to fake when I tell you this. You'll be like, what? Okay. It was like a drug addict recovery. Let's not forget. So take out the juice, and if they're going to have milk, make it whole milk, right? I'm not going to preach about dairy, this and that. Like, I'm just from a sugar perspective. Then take it back to the good old days of like when your grandparents saved the fat after cooking and like put a little bit of that rendered fat in or beef tallow and like cook up some eggs, scramble them. You can get the Amy Lou organic chicken sausage. You can actually buy pre-made little egg bites by Made Good. There are healthier choices out there. there are muffins that are vegetable based and not high in sugar at all. So if they feel like they need that, switch it over, right? Like email it. So I'll show you the brands and you can just go be with that. My favorite breakfast recipe that has saved all of my clients at this point, 12 eggs, mix it up. Any vegetables you want, saute or don't, throw it in. Add more protein in. It could be ground turkey, ground beef, ground sausage, or have some on the side. 350 degrees, 30 to 35 minutes, take it out, cut it into 6 pieces. There's your breakfast for 6 days for one person. Bruh.
You guys.
Make your frittata. Do it.
That's gold.
That's gold. Yeah. Or if you're like me, like this morning for breakfast, I had lentils cooked in bone broth with, what was the meat this morning? Oh, with leftover chuck roast that's grass-fed and organic, and asparagus that I cooked 2 nights ago. That was breakfast. I don't need breakfast for breakfast. I food prep and I take what's there and I just feel nourished and good.
Yeah.
And it's delicious food. I make delicious food. We've had my food. I mean, take 51% of me of Italian and let her cook, right? Yeah. Let her cook. It's not, I feel like
let her cook.
I feel like a high schooler now. So much risk in the kitchen. What is happening? You're like, Lori, you're almost 48. STFU. There you go. So, yeah, I mean, there's such simple ways of doing things that make breakfast taken care of Monday through Saturday if you're a working mom. Or if you have a couple kids, double the recipe. Go get your Costco eggs, 18, do it up. You can make little muffins. You know, kids like little muffins. It's so cute. Cupcakes. Put the cupcake wrapper in and fill it up with the mix. And then they're like, oh, it's like a pastry, but good for me. Yeah. And that's what I want breakfast to look like, honestly. That would make my heart happy.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I wish I knew this when Ashley was little, right?
Yeah. And guys, here's the thing, right? I'm picturing parents at home probably thinking, but you don't know my kid and how hard it is to get them to eat right. And my response, I don't want to say it, if there's a fight worth having, it's this one.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be something that your child, as well as you as a parent, know you're going to deal with every single day of your life.
Yeah.
Eating is a part of daily life. I hate to say it. I wish that wasn't the case. Your kid, you should care more about their eating habits than if they know all freaking 50 capitals. Because that's not going to matter, but this is.
It is.
And so I hear parents all the time, well, I'm already fighting them on homework and other stuff. Okay, cool. So what? Fight them on the thing that's literally going to be the thing that keeps them safe from chronic disease, from ailments, from pains, from lack of from going to school and being fat and getting made freaking fun of. That should happen.
God, I still hear that.
So you still live with those memories.
Yes. I mean, the level of self-consciousness I have, even when I'm like a size 4, is embarrassing to admit out loud. But you still hear that, and I'm gonna put this out for food for thought. Okay, everybody always is like, oh, I have X, Y, and Z, but it's genetic. It's genetic. It's genetic. It's genetic. We gotta. Oh, that's almost like when you just use my back hurts to get out of everything because you don't want to pick up.
You don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. So listen. I've been trained in some genetic stuff. I can run genomic testing. I understand DNA. I understand genetic mutations on a very basic level. I'm not a geneticist at all, right? I do have a famous one in the family, back in Italy, other story. But there's epigenetics. And then there's also how you live. So if you have a family of 4 and the parents grew up eating like shit and they're obese and chronically ill, and they raise their kids that way and they get that illness, is it genetic or is it higher living? Because I'm on team higher living because I have broken through all those barriers through changing how I eat and live. My blood marker, you can come take me to a lab, run any test you want on me right now. I'll retest my metabolomics and show you all the progress I've made in a year and a half following the 14 pages of information on that. Like, I really think it's more of how we live, because we know with insulin resistance driving high cholesterol, heart problems, whatever, like, I can show you the studies, I can show you the information that nobody talks about because there's no money in healthy people. We come back to this. But if it's generational bad eating habits no exercise, we don't eat vegetables, just meat and potatoes, it's probably why you're all drowning in the same illness, because you're all living the same unhealthy life.
Yeah.
And I had to ask myself, dude, we're Italian. Could you imagine if I still just lived on fucking lasagna and like chicken parmesan, deep fried breaded and shit oil? Where would I be? I would not be here.
No, you wouldn't be.
You come visit me at the cemetery. Drop me a little burger wrapper. You fell home 6 feet under. Like, we, you know, that was some unhealthy stuff, because our food in America is not like our family's food in Italy. So you can't come here and get into all this processed version of Olive Garden, not Italian. Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And then obesity, cancer, heart attack, stroke. Like, that's the question I pose. If I told you it was habits and how you're living, not your genetics, you would change your kids' food in a heartbeat, because you would understand epigenetics, and you would understand nutrition, you would understand insulin resistance, and you would know how much control you have over these beautiful little humans that you've made. And it wouldn't matter how tired you were, you'd make time for that.
Dude, Coach Lori just hit it on the freaking head. And I am with you on that exact same page, that this whole thing, that's such a lazy cop-out excuse. If you trace me back right now, from my mom to everyone in my family, they're just freaking fatter after the other. And then you look at me, and like, it is to the point now where I've had people like tell me, well, it's easier for you, Ty, you've always been fit. Which, yeah, they don't know. They don't know, but it's just one of those things where this is completely up to you. Your health, you could literally take control with it. You control the food that you put in your mouth. You control the time that you put towards your fitness. Nobody has a gun to your head saying you better keep that in and out. These are choices that you're making. You can make good choices, and obviously, like me and Coach Lori are trying to tell you guys, the more good choices you make, the more naturally your kids are going to begin to make those same good choices and good options, because they're picking up on your habits. So I hate when people say, but this is how it is. Everyone in my family is big. That's such a
and you can see it in the families where, like, one person, everyone's really obese and sickly and cancer and all this, and there's that one fit person that didn't subscribe to that, and that often got into fitness and health and nutrition, and they're just fine.
Yes.
And twins, you can see twins. I'm not just like making up stories like I'm 80 years old and want a friend to listen. Like, I see this all the time.
So that's a funny story. 6th grade, one of my friends, I'm going to name his name, but his uncles were twins. And they were both 300 pounds. These dudes were two of the biggest black dudes I've ever seen. And one of them, I forget which one, but he went on his own and just lost like 67 pounds. Literally twins. And it's completely in the same exact picture. You didn't even know that they were twins anymore.
Yeah.
Just because, and once again, if anyone could say that dude has my same genes, clearly not. He obviously made a choice, and it always helped. It has always helped. I mean, it's always choices towards wanting better health. Yeah. And if you make them, you will get it. Yeah. It can't be more explained better. Now, the next tip. Prior to us closing, do you have any more tips that you want to give to any families out there? Any other advice or education?
Yeah, I mean, if time is a big constraint and money is not, because a lot of times people have more money than time now instead of more time than money. Because in our area, anyways, go buy the 5-pound bag of frozen broccoli that's organic. You can microwave it for 30 seconds, right? Go buy a pre-made veggie tray and just leave it out on the counter instead of chips, veggie straws. Like, leave healthy food that's fast.
I like that.
Because nobody has an attention span past like 10 seconds. Like, those of you that are watching and staying tuned in, you're one in a million. You make through the whole podcast. Most of us are like 10 seconds, TikTok. You know, and it's the same with the kids. Like, they'll eat the hard-boiled egg that you can buy boiled and peeled. Like, there's no shame in buying healthy pre-made stuff that you can read the ingredients on the back and know that you're not putting more junk in them. Take advantage of that. Take advantage until you can find that rhythm to get it going. But know that even just that one step of pulling 50% of their sugar out of breakfast, cutting out the juice and the non-fat milk. The sugar, like, or non-fat yogurt, fruit in it. You're like, dude, just give them a cookie. It's wild.
No, it's the same equivalent.
Yeah.
It's going to cause that exact same insulin spike and everything else if they just had a cookie.
Yeah, and it's. I'm not saying anything's easy, but it's worth it. So these are the things where we find the energy and dig deep to do it. Like, I've been fighting off this sinus thing for a week, and I've not missed a beat of anything. And I give anything to sleep more than 5 hours and get caught up and feel better, but life moves on. And I have a child, and it was just her birthday, and we've got stuff here. Like, the things that matter, you will always make time for. And we talked about this in an earlier podcast. And nothing should matter more than the health of your children, because you're the one shaping their future. And my Girl Scout troop leader buried her daughter. She's my age. I lost my friend from like liver cancer and other, like, it's, nobody wants to bury a child. My child's life is my entire life. I make sure when she drives herself to school, I check, okay, she's at school. I don't watch her anymore driving to school. I've calmed down, right? But like, if anything happened to her, I don't know that I could make it. So I want to give her the best I can. Kids get older, they make their own decisions, they have jobs, they buy their own food, but you still lead by example, and you still love them, and you still provide the best food that you're cooking that they take or leave, right? Like, that's the thing. I cook for one family. You're eating this, or you can just figure it out, right? and that helps the picky eaters get over it too.
You gotta lay the groundwork.
You have to lay the foundation. And yeah. And then the last thing is for the kids that are super hyperactive, that are constantly getting called out in class. Oh, ADHD, all this stuff. Are you sure it's not just the copious amounts of sugar they get at breakfast, at their school lunch, at the school parties that are all sugar? Like, they're like cracked out. Like, you have to really think about this, like, logically. Just take a step back and say, if I woke up every day and had 2 cookies and coffee with creamer and sugar, what am I going to feel like? And that's the equivalent of the standard American breakfast for your kid in terms of sugar. And then teachers like, they don't listen or pay attention. They're spun. I've never done hard drugs other than nitro cold brew. We got to talk about that. That was my drug of choice, right? Because I would drink that coffee with the coconut milk, splash of it in it, and I'd be like, let's change the world. And for 6 hours, it would carry me. I would just be like on fire. And then it'd be like, oh, cortisol spike, 3 o'clock. And then I'd be like, iced tea, or, like, we even become dependent on that. We can feel our energy differences with what we're eating and what we're drinking. So they're little tiny babies, brains are smaller, bodies smaller. Like, just think about that.
I'm just even thinking about, like you said, that most children will eat more sugar in one day than me and you will even come across. And I don't disagree one bit with that. Like, as I thought about just my, like, a typical high school day for me was, breakfast was probably some cereal and some milk. So I'm already coming out the house with about 35 grams of sugar.
Did you add banana in?
No.
Okay, because that would have been like, woo, bananas.
Hey, I'll be honest, when it was frosted wheats, I would add an extra scoop of sugar in there.
Yeah.
I was a bad kid. So I'm leaving out the house with about 30 grams. And you know me, so once I get to class, I don't want to just walk in and not look cool. So I gotta grab a soda so people see me.
There you go.
Another about 22 to 2 grams. It's not even 10. And we're pushing at 50 grams of sugar. That's me in high school.
Yeah.
And then I haven't even had lunch yet.
Yeah.
Or my daily snack. I haven't gone to football practice. You already know there's so much more in between all of that.
Crap.
Like, now thinking about it in high school on a daily basis, I had to be 60 to 80 grams a day of sugar. Like, looking at, without even trying.
Yeah. Without something sweet, like an actual, like, brownie or something, right? Yeah.
Not even a sweet treat, just with the soda and normal bread and cereal and just basic stuff.
Yeah.
And that alone is crazy. I'm honestly shocked that I wasn't insulin resistant, or maybe I just didn't know about it, but I didn't get type 2 or anything else. But thinking about that, and I was on that path for a long time. Like, that's high school, 4 years, just eating like crap and not knowing.
Yeah, there are a lot of kids with type 2 diabetes now. Now that you said you were surprised you weren't insulin resistant or type 2. So my daughter's wrapping up her junior year, So back when she was in elementary school, there were a few kids that were diagnosed as type 2 diabetes by the time she was in 3rd grade.
That is crazy.
Diagnosed as kindergarten. And to me, when my grandpa had a stroke and then had type 2 diabetes, like, again, it's that chronic disease, you know, Italian guy. And he was thin. It wasn't like, that's the thing, like, thin people can be insulin resistant and diabetic too. Like, we always think that someone has to be like really fat to be unhealthy, but that has nothing to do with that, honestly. And I always thought type 2 diabetes was like an old age thing. Did you? Yeah, being honest. Like, I was like,
that, like, I remember hearing like, oh, so-and-so got diabetes. Oh, well, he's old. Sounds about right. That's what I would think. Which is scary to think, but that was and then you see younger kids now. And there were studies, and I know through Broken Science, like, I don't know, I would have to go back. I read this years ago when my daughter was probably in middle school, that like when a kid is severely overweight or obese and has health problems at 2, like, they're going to be fighting obesity going forward. Like, now you have created the uphill battle that is your weight and health. And I've seen like some kids, and the whole big bone nonsense too. Like, I know, I used to, I'll be honest with you. My mom would be like, Lori, it's okay, you're big bones. So I'd be like, oh no, I can barely get my thumb around. God, look, I know I thought I was Wonder Woman, but I was not from the Amazon. I'm not Amazonian woman. I'm not big bone. Like, we hear all these like folktale like excuses of stuff. And you see a child who is 3 to 4 and weighs over 100 pounds. And my heart just breaks, because I honestly was a really thin child until my mom had bladder cancer during her divorce. And then my grandma came down, and that's when the fast food really hit. And then I just was sad and then I was an emotional eater. That's when I went from like a normal kid to like, you know, like that girls get that little chunkiness, they sprout out and then they sprout up. But where I really got fat was around 11. And then you got hormones, puberty, all that stuff. And it was just emotional eating, right? But there's kids that are 3 or 4 that are weighing what like 5th and 6th grader weighs. And their parents just like, it's the same thing. They're at a restaurant, they give them the phone because I know you want peace of quiet. I'm not dogging that. We've all done it. But then they're giving them snacks out of the bag while they're waiting for the food. So they're like feeding them at the restaurant, waiting for the French fries, the deep fried zucchini with ranch, the pizookie at the end. If they're at freaking sample when I'm here.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sort of just like, they're just like keeping them happy and in line. And society's kind of created this mindset because they expect so much out of all of us, and then we expect so much out of our kids. Like, how do we unwind that? So like really get rid of chronic disease and illness by eating right. Like it, and these are some of the tips and tricks. Try one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Take out the juice.
Exactly. Like, you know, obviously kids are going to be tougher. Like, you don't want to just throw everything at them at once, but you can definitely start with limiting, with saying, hey, it's a school night, we're not going to do this. Like, you could start laying some ground rules, because I guarantee that every parent has things that they would lay ground rules down for. So if you know how to lay ground rules with your kids, then it's time to do it on the one thing that matters the most, what they're putting into their body and how it's affecting them. And I guarantee, if your excuse is it's because my child is too much to deal with, that's probably because of the shitty food that you're feeding your child. That's why it's so hyper, or he or she's so hyper. It's like, this could fix that. This could get their brain starting to function on a normal level instead of rabbit, give me something. Yeah. It's like this is the fight that's worth having. Now,
so I'm going to share this because this is Luke's plan to being strong and healthy. So one of the things he said is that, will you help me so that I can be strong like you, Auntie Lori? And I'm like, okay. And obviously I wrote it because he's in kindergarten and everyone in the house can read it, but verbatim, this is called Luke's plan to be strong and healthy. Eat meat and veggies and some berries and salads. And then he asked me to put a happy face. I'm sure mine looks a little different than his. I think they do the full circle. It's okay. Burger with 1 slice of pickle and ketchup. So the next thing I have to do is just Amazon some sugar-free ketchup to my brother and save him that step, right? Protein boxes from Starbucks, because he likes them. He eats the egg and the cheese and the veggies, and he gets more protein that way. So let's go. He doesn't want the chips or the cake. He wants the protein box, right? Organic chicken nuggets, because he will eat the protein that way. So then you find the ones that are gluten-free, organic, and free-range chicken. Showed my brother which one to get. Broccoli steamed is my favorite. Celery and carrots too. Eggs. This is so cute. Can you hear this adorable little blonde-haired, blue-eyed 5-year-old saying this? Drink lots of water, some juice, and whole milk. Because this is from him, right? So I'm not going to be like, I mean, he almost took Glassman's fitness. Like he's a 5-year-old is like honing in on like the best way of eating, and I love this. Then we had to talk about workouts. So it says workouts with an exclamation point. Squats, push-ups, running. Auntie Lori is buying me a kettlebell. Side note, Jeff said no, he'll with it. So I taught him how to do kettlebell swings with a Charizard Pokemon toy. He holds the wings and he can kettlebell swing his toy. We circumvented that. I will do goblet squats. Squat and hold the kettlebell, or in this case, his toy. Dad will film me in time lapse so we can watch when I'm done. Vitamins, because we talked about like he's tired of being sick all the time. So we talked about some vitamins that we need. For 2 months, I'll take a probiotic. He didn't quite say probiotic, but I knew what he meant. Vitamin D3 with K2 drops, because I told him I'm going to give him drops for his vitamins and explain what it was. Vitamin C, but a liquid. Like he doesn't like the gummies so much, or the chewy stuff that tastes crappy. So just something he can just put in his mouth and swallow.
Just be done with it.
And then he said, I'll get all the virus out of me. And I wrote it down. And then he said, don't put tape on the wall, it ruins the paint. So we put the tape on the window behind the little breakfast nook table so that he can see that every day. And I've held true to sending him little clips of my workouts or anything. Like today I made a reel of the gym because I was coaching in the morning, and just so he could see like we're all with you, we're all doing this together. But he wanted me to do this. This was like, even though he got to pick out his birthday gifts, like this is what he wanted for his birthday, is to be strong like Auntie Lori and to let everyone know he's the fastest kid at the YMCA, and the whole family confirms it. So there you go.
There we go.
There you go. One day we'll have him on the podcast, right?
Absolutely.
We'll get him up here doing things and talking about it. But these are the things, like talk to your children, your nieces, your nephews, your best friends, kids. Like if they want to talk about this, talk about it, right? Like, because you're not like if I go over to, I don't know, my other brother who's out in Fresno, to his son who's 2, and I'm like, Rocky, what are you up to? And he's like, I'll make some lunch. And I'm like, what do you like to eat? And he tells me, and I'm like, let's go to the store and get it. And then we cook together. Like my other brothers are gonna be like, damn, what are you doing right now? Buying food? And I mean, like they're like, that's so cool. Like be a part of it with them.
Yeah. I'll be honest. The only time that my mom taught me how to cook anything, she taught me how to cook eggs, and I was probably like 11 years old. That's how long it took before anybody was like, here's how to kind of do something. Like I was never brought in to watch how things were done. None of that.
Yeah.
All that would have been huge. So that's some very, very good advice.
Yeah. Really
quick, Lori, next thing I want to ask you, you mentioned something you want to speak about Netflix that happened today.
Okay. So the Broken Science Initiative's Medical Society had a webinar with Ivor Cummins. You can read his article on the website. I want to point out that you don't need to be a medical professional. You don't have to be an MD, a PhD doing some research. You don't have to be a chiropractor. None of that. You can come in as a patient and join, as you should, because the best information comes out of it. And it's like 90% of the time it reinforces the things that I'm really passionate about, that you and I that we talked to you about, and you're like, okay, I knew that. And then I'm still learning. So the webinar today, I can only stay on for an hour because then I had to go immediately and teach on Zoom for Chabot, for health and healthy lifestyle fitness. He's just like, guys, the studies are in. Like, why do we keep saying that low fat, high carb for cholesterol and heart problems and chronic? He's like, it comes back to insulin resistance. And then doctors would make blanket statements like, oh, well, people who are obese have 2 times the risk of a heart attack. People who are obese and insulin resistance and people who are thin with insulin resistance have the 2 times for heart attack. And the thin one with the insulin resistance was a 2.6%, or 2 times points, like he's showing the stuff. And I'm just like, he's like dismantling the nonsense we've been fed for so long. And I get so excited about people in positions like doctors, Peter McCullough, the guy that created the PCR test, people that worked on mRNA and created that. People put their livelihood and lives on the line to be like, forget what you've heard. Like, stop feeding big pharma and healthcare. Like, let's make healthcare about healthcare. Because once that insulin resistance is in check, all your markers are in check, right? And it was just like, I love this guy. I don't even know him.
I love this guy. He's amazing.
He's in the UK. Like, when I read his article, I was like, I hope he has a webinar. And then I saw this today and I'm like, I am so booked. But that 1 free hour that I have is glued to the screen. I took like 1 million screenshots like a fangirl. I already posted about one of them that just dispels the myth about things. So if you really want to know what Ty and I are talking about is the business, like, check out these articles, check out these brilliant doctors and scientists and researchers and biochemists. Just like, check it out. It's all out there if you're willing to get out of like the geopolitical, like there's so much stuff that really bastardizes the truth. And just break free of that and really think about where you are in your health and any changes you can make, and just make that one change. That was the whole thing today, teaching for Shabbat, was like, I went all in. We did the sickness, wellness, fitness and health in 100 words. We talked about keto, slow carb. We talked about chronic disease and illness. We talked about how to simplify things, how busy you are. And we even talked about the Harvard study where sugar paid them to lie about high carbs and low fat. Because I say to them, as I say to everyone, like, whether you've been in college or you're in college now, you're always a student, you're always learning. So you have to be out there looking for the things that help you get past the misnomers and false studies, like the growth plate shit. Right? Growth plate. Only because my kid did Olympic lifting, I was like, I'm just going to record myself talking about this. Or cholesterol, not understanding HDL, LDL, not understanding why we need cholesterol, not understanding the myelin that coats the brain. And if you get on cholesterol meds, you starve the brain. And now we have Alzheimer's. Like, these are the things that we try to get out to everyone, because if nothing else, if nobody else loves you in your life, Ty and Lori love you, because we sit here and we get the pushback from people, or the people are upset because we're happy that Kennedy wants to make America healthy and give people common knowledge of what's in their food and medicine while still allowing you to make your own decision, right? Like, 2 people are always rooting for you to be your healthiest and best self. And I feel loved when I think about all these people that I'm meeting through the medical society, the guy running the NIH, Jay, you've got HHS with Kennedy, people that are risking their lives to make changes so that we don't have to keep having these talks about young kids dying, leukemia, type 2 diabetes, cancer. Like, let's roll it back. The numbers should not be getting worse every year with disease and illness, and they do. So it's time. I feel like we've come to a place where there's enough viable information that is not drowning in jargon that anyone can understand, that we can do this. So I hope that this episode, helped you if you're a parent or an aunt or a grandparent, because grandparents like to feed them kids sugar too. Hey, oh my God, missed you. I got a pie. We got pizzas. We got, and Italian grandmas are like, are you really done eating? Because you only broke the first button off your jeans, not the second. Like, you can't be full right now, right? But I digress. Like, it just helps us know that instead of doing all these things to make a kid feel loved through food that's crap because the endorphins kick in, or oh, they love me, they gave me a birthday cake, which That's
hold on really quick.
Yeah.
Let me dive down with you.
Oh no, oh no.
Because no, you were absolutely right. Your grandparents, or I had this conversation with my grandma. I was like, cause she used to literally feed me anything I wanted, kiss me on the forehead and be like, it's okay, you're not fat, you're husky. She's a liar.
See,
she was
a big bone in your husky.
Yeah, she was a straight liar, and she was basically the reason that I had to lose all that weight when I became 400 pounds. Not, oh yeah, kind of her fault, but still, as a kid, I didn't know. And it was grandparents and parents who thought, oh, I just want them to be happy. You're ruining their life. Look at someone whose life was ruined by that love. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I had to relearn everything and basically almost start anew, just living at 26. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, it is something that if you could nip this in the bud and get your children on some good habits now, it's going to save you and them a hell of a battle in the future.
Yeah,
I promise you that.
Like, prevent it instead of having to fix it.
Yes.
What do we always say? The worst time to start caring about your health is when you've lost it.
Exactly.
Because now you're foot in the grave, digging yourself out, like, of this hole that you've created. And it's true, like, everything about our society, at least here in America, especially in California, everything revolves around drinking and eating.
Oh.
Every school party.
Hold on, speaking of that, guys, night out.
CrossFit night out.
Night out. North Place in Danville, 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
That's just a little drop.
But you know what? It's a social event. Doesn't mean you have to drink.
Exactly.
And they have healthy food you can eat, or you can eat before you go. Like, I'm being honest. You don't have to know. I'm not going to drink. You know what I'm going to do? And I'm going to call myself out. I'm going to just get a tonic water with a lime and pretend there's vodka in it and act white girl wasted, sober. And the joke's on them. And have a good time.
Have fun.
Have fun at Norm's Place, 7 p.m. But yes, it's true. But, you know, I think the best way to love your child is to just include them in all the important things, the food, shopping, working out, have the talks with them, answer questions, you know, and just be honest about it and roll back that sugar, because that's what's going to keep them healthy. That's what's going to keep them out of the hospital, off the diabetes medication. So it just is what it is. Yeah.
So really quick, Coach Lord, since you are one of the founding first members of Netflix, there's a lot going on in the future. Where can people find all the Netflix stuff, as well as all of the great health information and tips that you have?
Awesome. So we implemented the daily fix from Netflix on CrossFitSR.com. So if you're on the homepage, hover over home and the drop-down menu takes you to that. I am working as hard as I can with Ashka, who's amazing, helping me with my metfixmethod.com site. It's a lot of work, but when that's up, that's another free resource with a lot of things as well. And I encourage, if you just go back and watch all the podcasts, there's health and nutrition and fitness tips and all of them, whether we're interviewing a gym member or we've got some like people that work in the healthcare professions coming up soon too. Like, we have so much planned for you. And we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep going, right? It is. And you can always email.
Okay.
You can always email me, Lori, Lorin at CrossFitSR.com. I open it every time I teach Chabot. I give them my contact information, and I help about 20 plus students. And I love doing that. Like, I want to see the world a healthier place, because I've been on the other side of that. And I've been watching a lot of people die and get sick these last few years. And it's just time for a really positive change. And there's so much help in that. Yeah, there's so many great things happening. I can't express the hope I feel, which is a great change from the despair of the last few years leading up to that. So it's a good time to be alive and healthy.
I love it. Wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, also, if you haven't, go to Spotify. You type us in, you can find us on Spotify now. Like and favorite us on Spotify as well. Guy. Oh, also, if you're a parent, or even if you're not a parent, but you know a parent, please share this with other parents, or share this with a parent that you know who is struggling with getting their kid to be healthy. Hopefully that's to drive the point home why that is important. That's all we have. Until next time, keep your kids happy and healthy, and keep it classy, San Ramon.
Have a good one.